Shalom, Israel. Grace and mercy from God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, be unto you. All praises to the highest in the name of his Messiah, Jesus, the son of Joseph, that we made it another week to another Bible History 101. I'm just going to make sure that everything is functioning properly, and I'm going to put on silent as well. My phone, that is. Okay, all praises. I'm gonna put it on silent as well. Okay, all praises to the Most High. Everything is functioning properly. We are live. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna pick up right where we left off last week with Numbers, the 10th chapter. And part of this is laws, talking about the two silver trumpets. So we're just gonna get right to the history, as this is Bible History 101. So, picking up with verse 11 here in Numbers, the 10th chapter. And it came to pass on the 20th day of the second month, in the second year, that the cloud was taken up from off the tabernacle of the testimony. And the children of Israel took their journeys out of the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud rested in the wilderness of Paran. So let's see if I can pull this up on a map real quick. Oh, forgive me, I didn't even bring it down. We'll just start that verse again. Please forgive me. All right. So picking up where we left off last week, Numbers 10 and verse 11. And it came to pass on the 20th day of the second month in the second year, all right, this is the second year after the Exodus, that the cloud was taken up from off the tabernacle of the testimony, and the children of Israel took their journeys out of the wilderness of Sinai, and the cloud rested in the wilderness of Paran. So let me see if I can pull that up on a map real quick. Let's see. Y'all know that we like geography here on Bible History 101. I don't know if I got any maps of the wilderness specifically. Let's see. I can show you on a Middle East map. Let's look at that real quick. This is modern political drawings of the Middle East, but it's the same geography as it was back then, obviously. So Sinai is right here. That's the Sinai Peninsula. The wilderness of Paran will be over here, modern day Saudi Arabia and Jordan. All right. So that's where they're moving to. All right. So, and then it just goes on to say, I'll read the next verse. And they first took their journey according to the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. And the first place went the standard of the camp of the children of Judah according to their armies. And then it goes on to list the prince, or the chief of each of the tribes. We didn't get into this last week because there was more order and organization, more law than it was history. But the tribes were specifically set in array in specific positions around the tabernacle. That's how they keep the tabernacle protected, is it would be surrounded by 3 tribes on the east side, 3 tribes on the north side, 3 tribes on the west side, and 3 tribes on the south side. All right. So all it's saying right here in the first place, went the camp of the children of Judah, is just saying they went east. All right. Judah was on the east side, alongside Issachar and Zebulun, as you see here. And of course the Levites were in the middle, taking care of the service of the tabernacle. All right. So then you had the camp of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. They were on the north side. Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin were on the west side. And Dan, Asher, and Naphtali were on the south side. All right. Verse 28 says, "Thus were the journeyings of the children of Israel according to their armies when they set forward. And Moses said unto Hobab, the son of Raguel the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are journeying unto the place of the which the Lord said, I will give it you." All right. So This Hobab would be Moses' brother-in-law. This Raguel is the same as Ruel, Moses' father-in-law, aka Jethro. All right, Hobab is his son. The place of which the Lord said, I will give it you. Come now with us. Right, so Moses is telling his extended family, his in-laws, hey, come with us, and we will do thee good. For the Lord hath spoken good concerning Israel. And he said unto him, I will not go, but I will depart to my own land and to my kindred. Right, so this is Hobab, one of the sons of Jethro, specifically saying, I'm going to go back. We know that some of the descendants of Jethro did end up going to the land of Israel. And he said, leave us not, I pray thee, for as much as thou knowest how we are to encamp in the wilderness, and thou mayest be to us instead of eyes. And it shall be, if thou go with us, yea, it shall be, that what goodness the Lord shall do unto us, the same we will do unto thee. You see that right there. So Moses said, look, you can come with us. We'll treat you with respect as the Lord has commanded us. And they departed from the mount of the Lord 3 days' journey, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them in 3 days' journey to search out a resting place for them. All right, so they're 3 days out from Sinai, and the cloud of the Lord was upon them by day when they went out of the camp. And it came to pass when the ark set forward that Moses said, rise up, Lord, and let thy enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee. And when it rested, he said, return, O Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel. Right, so as they would leave, he had a thing that he would say, that he would recite. Rise up, Lord, and let thy enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee. Right? And then when they rested, when they stopped, he said, return, O Lord, into the many thousands of Israel. All right? So, chapter 11 in Numbers. All right? And this one's a big one in my opinion. Just based on how it starts out. And in Numbers 11, starting with 1, and when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. And the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. Right? So the people getting on the Lord's nerves so much. He said, I can't deal with these people like this. They getting put to death left and right from fire from the Lord. All right. Now, whether this took form in say like a fire that broke out because somebody like knocked over a candle, or whether this is a fire that came from like a meteor strike, or like a lightning bolt. You know, only God knows. But the point is, the people complaining, it displeases the Lord. All right. And the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. All right, Taberah must mean burning or fire. Give me 1 second. It may say it here in the 1611. Sometimes they'll have that out to the side here in the 1611. Burning. That's what Taberah means, burning. All right. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes, right? Besides this angel's food, this literal food of God. That's what they have, and they're complaining. And they're complaining about it. All right? And as you can see, the mixed multitude, these other nations amongst the Israelites who saw the chance to flee Egypt and took that chance, took that, riding on the Israelites' coattails, they are just agging it on. All right? And the people, they miss the plantation. And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bdellium. And the people went about and gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was like the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Right? So the manna was in the dew. God sent down the manna when he sent down the dew every night. All right? We read in Exodus, though, that he would send twice as much on the 6th day, so that they would have the 7th day to not have to gather manna. All right. Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent. And the anger of the Lord was kindled greatly. Moses also was displeased. And Moses said unto the Lord, Wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me? Right? So Moses is like, why? Why, Lord? Why me? Why do I have to deal with this people that won't never stop complaining, that won't never shut up, that always have something, to complain about, always have something that's a grievance, that's an annoyance to me, a thorn in my side. All right. Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them? He said, look, I'm not their daddy, that thou shouldest say unto me, carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father beareth the sucking child, unto the land which thou swearest unto their fathers. When should I have flesh to give unto all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh that we may eat. Right? So again, we saw this a few weeks ago, where the people are complaining to and about Moses and Aaron, as if it's them that's doing any of this, as if Moses has control over what's going on. He don't. He's following orders just like everybody else. All right. Let's see. Give us flesh that we may eat. I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. Right? So Moses says unto God, look, if you really care about me, if you really love me, then kill me, so I don't have to deal with this wicked people just complaining all the time. And the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone. All right, so look, notice what he said here. He said, I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them. Right? He said, look, I'm going to take that portion of the Holy Ghost that you got, I'm going to give them some of that as well. I'm going to give it to them by measure. All right? So that they can deal with the problems that you got to deal with as well. And say unto the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh. For ye have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt, therefore the Lord will give you flesh, and ye shall eat. Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 nor 20 days, but even a whole month, until it come out at your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you, because that ye have despised the Lord which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt? Right? No faith, no trust in the Lord. All right? They say, all right, you want some meat to eat? I'm going to give you meat for a whole month. You're going to get sick of it. You're going to get sick of the meat that you cried and desired for. All right? And Moses said, the people among whom I am are 600,000 footmen. And now it said, I will give them flesh that they may eat a whole month. Shall the flocks and the herds be slain for them to suffice them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them to suffice them? And the Lord said unto Moses, is the Lord's hand waxed short? Thou shalt see now whether my word shall come to pass unto thee or not. Right? So even Moses is like, where are we going to get all this meat from, Lord? And the Lord said, look, I made everything. You think I can't bring meat to these people? Did my hand my hand stop working that I can't bring meat to this people? And Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and set them round about the tabernacle. And the Lord came down in a cloud, and spake unto them, and took the spirit that was upon him, and gave it unto the 70 elders. And it came to pass that when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease. Right? So even a portion of Moses' spirit, the Holy Ghost, that was given unto Moses, was enough to make all these 70 elders prophesy without ceasing. All right? Just continue in prophecy. But there remained 2 of the men in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. And the Spirit rested upon them. And they were of them that were written, but went not out unto the tabernacle, and they prophesied in the camp. And there ran a young man and told Moses, and said, Eldad and Medad do prophesy in the camp. And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of Moses, One of his young men answered and said, My lord Moses, forbid them, stop them. And Moses said unto him, Enviest thou for my sake? Would God that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them. So this right here shows you that Moses, he had no pride. All right? He was not lifted up in any arrogance, any respect of persons type spirit. He didn't want the people to look at him any type of way. He didn't care. All right? Joshua at this point, he cared a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He's still a young man. He still had that respect of person spirit on him. All right? But this Eldad and Medad, hey, they out here prophesying as as the Lord had given the Holy Spirit, right? And Moses said, hey, let them keep doing it. I wish everybody would stand up and do what they're supposed to do, like Eldad and Medad. All right? And Moses got him into the camp, he and the elders of Israel. And there went forth a wind from the Lord, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side round about the camp. Excuse me. And as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth. Right, so 2 cubits is like 3 feet. And the people stood up all that day, and all that night, and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 omers. And they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people. And the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibroth Hattava. Okay. Because there they buried the people that lusted. And the people journeyed from Kibroth Hattava unto Hazeroth, and abode at Hazeroth. Let's see if I got something here for Kibroth Hattava. Kibroth Hattava. Let's see what we got here. Do we got here Kibroth Hattava? Yeah, the graves of lust. Kibroth must be the graves, and Hattava must be lust. All right. So, yeah. And next week, I'll try to get a map of the journeys in the wilderness. I'm sure I got somewhere. I'm sure I got one somewhere around here in Bible study tools and things like that. I just haven't found one yet. Numbers 12, starting with verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. Right, so as far as I can tell, this Ethiopian woman is the same as the daughter of Jethro / Raguel / Ruel. As we've seen so far, he's been called 3 different things. It only makes sense. Zipporah would be called a couple different things as well. But let's keep it going, because some people misinterpret what this is actually saying here. So let's get into it. And they said, hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Right? So Miriam and Aaron, notice it listed Miriam's name first. Miriam and Aaron were speaking against Moses. And it says right here, oh, they spake against him because of the Ethiopian woman. Right? As in, like, that's what they brought against him. They said, you ain't supposed to be marrying anybody that's not a Hebrew. Right? But notice what they said here in the second verse. And they said, hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Right? So the intent was not, they didn't care who Moses married. All right? They wanted a position like Moses had. And as we just read in the last chapter, Moses didn't really care about his position. He wanted the duties of his position to be on, more evenly spread throughout the congregation. And when other people stepped up and prophesied, he was not trying to stop them. All right? Moses did not care about his position, but Miriam specifically, but Aaron as well, was convinced that they said, oh, we need to be on equal footing with Moses. All right? So verse 3. Now the man Moses was very meek. Meek means obedient. Moses was very obedient above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. right? Very humble was Moses, very obedient to the word of the Lord. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, Come out, ye three, into the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. Right? So the Lord came down personally to speak with Aaron and Miriam about this. Verse 6, And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. All right, so all the prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, all right, even David, Samuel the prophet, all right. You got all the prophets throughout the Old Testament, throughout the scriptures, all right. God only ever dealt with them in visions and in dreams. All right, never directly. Never directly. He dealt with them in visions and in dreams. Verse 7, My servant Moses is not so. So God didn't deal with Moses like that. God dealt with Moses face to face. All right. Now we know he didn't see the face of the Father, but I'm saying like he spoke to Moses the way that I'm speaking to you now, very plainly. It was not I had a dream last night. I had a vision earlier. No. The Lord said, okay, tell the children of Israel this, and that's what Moses told them. All right? God didn't deal with nobody like that besides Moses. All right? My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. Him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord shall he behold, meaning the image of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore, meaning why, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses, right? So, and here's what we see, Miriam and Aaron falling into the same trap as the rest of the people in the wilderness. They're taking that, what's the word I'm looking for lack of a better term, closeness to the Lord for granted, all right? The Lord ain't never dealt with anybody the way that he's dealing with them there. A whole generation of his chosen people he brought out, and he's dealing with them directly. These days, that's unheard of, all right? It will happen when Christ delivers us again, but it ain't never happened since then, all right? Where the Lord is just dealing with the people directly. And Miriam and Aaron, they don't really understand at this point yet that, Moses had to be really special for the Lord to deal with Moses like that. For them to even be a part of Moses' generation, all right? It's something peculiar, all right? And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. All right, she lost all her melanin. It's what you would call, it's not even really vitiligo. It's more like she turned albino. All right, lost all her melanin. All right. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly and wherein we have sinned. Right? So Aaron got terrified. All right, verse 12. Let her not be as one dead. Right? She lost all color. Right? Like when somebody dies, they get real pale. That's what happened with Miriam here. She lost all her color. So Aaron thinks she about to die. All right, let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. It's the same thing with babies. Even with people who are like real dark skinned, right? When they come out, they're not like fully melanated. They develop that fuller color over time. All right. So it says, let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he come out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. And the Lord said unto Moses, If her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and after that let her be received in again. Right? So it's interesting that the Lord used that phrase right there, right? If her father had spit in her face, right? Because that's really what he's doing to her. He's spitting in her face here, right? She did that metaphorically to him when she started questioning his servant Moses, right? She spit in the Lord's face because she's saying, well, God's dealing with us too. I'm on equal footing with Moses. Whereas if God was dealing with Miriam, she would have known it. All right, and he was dealing with her, but if he was dealing with her the same way that he was dealing with Moses, she would have known it, because the Lord would have come to her and said, hey, Miriam, tell the children of Israel this. But he didn't do that. So she's spitting in his face, he spit in hers, of course, metaphorically. All right. It said, let her be shut up, or excuse me, let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be received in again, right? Because anything that, and the laws in Leviticus you see is about how to deal with leprosy. Leprosy is anything that spreads. In this case, we know that it is, the vitiligo had completely spread in like an instant because it says she was white as snow. But yeah, leprosy is anything that spreads. A rash, that's leprosy. A sickness is leprosy. And those were the cleansing rituals of leprosy. And you read about that in Leviticus 13 and Leviticus 14. The cleansing rituals of every leprosy is usually, hey, quarantine them for 7 days, and then we'll come back after 7 days. If they're healthy again, or if the disease stops spreading, then they're clean again, right? So that's what the Lord said about Miriam here, right? Keep her away from the congregation for a week, then we'll check on her and let her come back. Verse 15. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterward the people removed from Hazeroth and pitched in the wilderness of Paran. All right, so let's keep it moving. This is really what I wanted to get into this week. And you can see by the title about the 40 years, this is where we really see that initiated. Numbers 13, starting with 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were the heads of the children of Israel, and these were their names. Of the tribe of Reuben, Shemua, the son of Zakur. Of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of Issachar, Egal, the son of Joseph. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshea, the son of Nun. This Oshea right here is the same as Joshua. All right, Oshea, the son of Nun. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, the son of Raphu. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Sodi. Of the tribe of Joseph, namely of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, the son of Susi. Of the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gamali. Of the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael. Of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, the son of Basi. Of the tribe of Gad, Guel, the son of Maki. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshea, the son of Nun, Jehoshua. Right? So he changed his name from salvation to Yahweh is salvation, or Yahweh Shai, some say. All right? So here we see that Jehoshua is the same name as Joshua. All right. Yahweh Shai is the same name as Yahshua. All right. Verse 17. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, get ye up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many. All right. So this is a reconnaissance mission. All right. Go get some intel and come back. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. And what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. All right, so that lets you know what time of year it was. Midsummer, I believe it's time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath, right? Hamath is all the way up in Syria, right? So they searched out the whole land, all right? And they ascended by the south and came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. Right, give a little history about when Hebron was built. It wasn't initially called Hebron, I don't believe. I forget what it was originally called. And I think in Judges 1 it tells you what it was originally called. But anyway, verse 23. And they came into the brook of Eshcol and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs, right? So they brought other fruits as well, right? Just to get a taste of the fruit of the land. The place was called the brook Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes, which the children of Israel cut down from thence. I think Eshcol means cluster, all right? And they returned from searching the land after 40 days, right? So they were there a month and 10 days. And they went and came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came into the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. They said, It is a very blessed land. It is a very beautiful land, and here's the fruit of it. All right. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses, right? So before they can even say anything about, their weakness, Caleb, he stopped, he said, hold on now, and said, let us go up at once and possess it, right? So Caleb had that spirit of courage. He had that spirit of bravery. He had the spirit from the highest. He had faith that the highest would deliver the people into their hand, would deliver the land into their hand. All right. For we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the son of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. You hear this weak BS, all right? So it's like if you ever seen some of them Sudanese people, right? They're like Bol, for example. He's like 7'4", right? He ain't even like one of the tallest ones that they got, right? So like them Sudanese people, they're like huge. So it'd be like a normal person, say like 5'8", 5'10", right? And you see one of these 7'7" dudes, and you're like, oh man, that's what they were thinking back then. Oh man, I'm like a grasshopper in that sight. But Caleb had faith. Caleb wasn't as tall as them Canaanites, right? More than likely he wasn't. But he's still like, we can take them. God is on our side. God is not with them, he's with us. And see, that's the mentality that Caleb had. But all the rest of the people like, no, we can't do it, man. This week, well, I mean, I was going to do it, but then I seen they got big cities, and we like grasshoppers in that time. Come on now, foolishness. All right, Numbers 14, start with 1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. Boo-hoo-hoo. We can't do it. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, as if this is Moses and Aaron's fault. And the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God that we had died in the wilderness? And wherefore hath the Lord brought us unto this land, to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, Let us make a captain, let us return into Egypt. We'd rather go back into slavery than fight for God. and fight alongside God and have faith that he's going to do what he promised. See, this whole generation, faithless, perverse, just wicked, complainers. Oh, good Lord. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. Right? So Joshua and Caleb were the only ones out of all them spies, out of all 12 tribes. These two were the only ones that were like, we can take them. The rest of them were like, oh, look at these people. We can't do it. I know God has done many wonderful things for us, but he can't do this. Like, come on now. Faithless. How can they see all these wonderful miracles being done for them and still be faithless? I don't get it. I don't understand. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. Right? So Joshua and Caleb were trying to speak some sense into these people, saying, look, if we do what God says to do, you remember how he took out the Egyptians? The Egyptians were mightier people than these Canaanites. He'll fight for us. The Lord is with us, not with them. They're like bread for us. Easy money. Oh, wow. A land that floweth with milk and honey. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. Right? They said kill them. Joshua and Caleb trying to encourage the people, uplift their spirits. And the people said kill them. Wicked and perverse, faithless generation. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. So, meanwhile, they're picking up rocks trying to kill Joshua and Caleb. Then the Lord comes down. The Lord has to come down, intervene directly. All right? And the Lord sent it to Moses. Right? Because, you know, if you remember, when the Lord came down on Sinai, all the people were afraid. All right? So when the Lord, they're picking up rocks, getting ready to kill Joshua and Caleb, the Lord comes down, they're afraid. They scatter. They're running, right? Moses, of course, he goes up to the tabernacle. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs which I have showed among them. He said, look, I'm showing the signs that they will believe so that they can believe, and they still don't believe. I showed them. I literally showed them me destroying Egypt. I showed them me pulling back the Red Sea. I showed them me slamming it back on the Egyptians' faces, destroying their armies. I give them everything that they asked for through mighty miracles, and they still don't believe. Verse 12, I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation, mightier, make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they, right? So this is the second time he's done proposition Moses and said, look, I'm about to start over with you, Moses. Look, you're going to be the new Abraham. Your seed is going to be the ones that inherit the earth. I can't do it with these people. I tried with Jacob. I love Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. But these children of Jacob, they just ain't it. That's what he's telling Moses. Verse 13. And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it. For thou broughtest up this people in thy might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. For they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people. That thou, Lord, art seen face to face. And that thy cloud standeth over them. And that thou goest before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness. And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. Right? So, notice what Moses said. He didn't say, hey, forgive the people. They're good people. They, they're just going through some stuff. He didn't say that. He said, no, they wicked as hell and they deserve it. For your name's sake, O Lord. I know you could wipe them out here in a second. Just like that. I know you could wipe them out. But for your own reputation, for your own name's sake, don't do that. Because the people, all the other nations, they're watching. They know what you did to Egypt. So now what you do with this people, that's the name, that's the legacy, that's the reputation that will be built around the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, if they see that you delivered them from Egypt just to kill them in the wilderness, then that will be your reputation. But if you have mercy on them, that will be your reputation. All right? Verse 20. And the Lord said, I am pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers. Neither shall any of them that provoke me see it, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and have followed me fully. Him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Right? So he said, of all the spies, the only one I'm bringing is Caleb. All right? Later on, he mentions Joshua as well, but Joshua he was one of the spies, but also not really, because he was the servant of Moses. All right, so we've read that earlier, that, Joshua was his steward, right? Excuse me. But, and I don't know if you can see the parallels, but I'll go ahead and point them out anyway. The parallels here between what the Lord was doing with the children of Israel once he brought us out of Egypt, and what our Lord, the Messiah, did when he stepped on the scene. Pretty much the same thing. Providing miracles to give the people some belief, some hope, and the people still disregarding it. All right. But as he said here in verse 21, as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord, and that will come to pass. All right. But Caleb did not have on him the spirit of fear. He had the Holy Ghost with him. So that's why the Lord said, hey, Caleb, he's the only one. Out of this whole wicked generation, he's the only one. All right. Verse 25. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. All right. So he said, go back. Go back towards the Red Sea. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Right? So that whole generation. That whole wicked, perverse, and faithless generation. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. He said, look, those are the only two. Caleb and Joshua, that's it. Those are the only two that's going to make it. Out of this whole wicked generation, Joshua and Caleb, that's it. But your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. Right? So God is making a point here that he does not punish the children for the fathers. All right? Each man shall live by his own sin and die in his own sin. All right? Now, if the children continue in the sin of their fathers, well, hey, guess what? They're going to get put to death too. But we see in this case, and we kind of already read it whenever we first started doing Bible History 101, we was talking about Joshua and the judges. We see then that the children of this wicked and perverse generation were actually a righteous generation who listened to Joshua. All right? But as for you, verse 32, but as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years. And ye shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. All right. That whole wicked generation. Hey, you just got to start with a clean slate. And the men which Moses sent to search the land who returned, and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land died by the plague before the Lord. Right? So the rest of them spies, they died of disease. They didn't even get to see that 40 years. All right. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still. And Moses told these sayings unto all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning, and gat them up into the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and will go up unto the place which the Lord hath promised, for we have sinned. All right, so now that the Lord told them not to go and try to take the land, they said, we're going to go up take the land now, like the Lord said. Just like, they're like, literally just doing the opposite of everything God tells them to do. That's that wicked and perverse generation. The Lord could say jump, they're going to crouch down on the ground. The Lord say crouch down on the ground, they jump. Like, anyway. And Moses said, wherefore now do ye transgress the commandment of the Lord? But it shall not prosper. He said, look, why are you doing this? God already told you not to do it. It's over. This generation can't do it. You try to go and fight against these Canaanites now, you will not prosper. It won't happen. Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you. Ye shall fall by the sword, because ye are turned away from the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. So you see how God moves, all right? If you turn your back on God, he's turning his back on you. Point blank period. All right? He is merciful. He is long-suffering. The fact that any of us are still here today is evidence of that. But he's not going to fight for you if you're not fighting for him. If you're not doing what he says to do, he will not fight for you. All right? But they presumed to go up to the hilltop. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. So Moses said, look, I'm not bringing myself nor your power, which is the power of God, not going to the battle. Y'all can go up if you want to, but I'm doing what the Lord said to do. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in that hill, and smote them and discomfited them even unto Hormah. All right, so kicked their ass all over the place. All right. And we'll close out with Numbers 15. It starts off with laws, as it says, laws about sacrifices. We're going to skip that because that's laws, that's not history. Even the offerings here. We're going to skip down to the Sabbath. It says Sabbath breaker. All right. And the institution of the fringes. All right. So in Numbers 15, starting with verse 32. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron, and unto all the congregation, and they put him in ward, because it was not declared what should be done to him. Right? They put him in a holding cell. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. Right? So we don't know why he's gathering sticks. Maybe he's trying to build something. Maybe he's trying to light a fire. Regardless, shouldn't be doing that on the Sabbath. All right? It says the man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp, meaning outside the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. All right? So he got put to death for breaking the Sabbath. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the border of their garments throughout their generations. Throughout their generations. I mean, as long as you keep generating, put the fringes on your children. And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. It shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them. That ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a-whoring. Right? Spiritual whoredom, going against the Lord. Right? Literal whoredom as well. That ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your God. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. All right, so we see here that the fringes were instituted. And as you can see, fringes and a border blue every day. All right, because every day I need a reminder to keep the commandments. All right, that's what he said here. I need to keep the commandments every day. I need to remember the commandments every day, everywhere I go. You ain't gonna catch me not wearing fringes. All right. So that's where that commandment came from. It's from a man who clearly needed to be reminded. He got that reminder with a rock to the head, but God is merciful. All right. That's why he said, hey, everybody else just wear fringes on your clothes as a reminder. You don't need to see somebody die to remember the commandments. All right. So with that, we're going to pick up with chapter 16 next week in Numbers. And that's where we see Korah, I believe, in number 16. Yeah. So we'll pick up with that next week. That's a whole thing. All right. So that's a whole lesson in and of itself. So we'll pick that up next week. Since I was talking about the salvation of the children of Israel, how and referencing the Messiah, referencing our Lord Jesus, I will go to Matthew 26 and starting with verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she had poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of hers. All praises to the highest for this sister, doing a wonderful thing for our Lord, the Messiah. So, with that, I say shalom. Let God be magnified.